No.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to I guess other way around. I'm the giver of gifts, Trust. Now I'm joined by.
I'm the Uncle Fester Taylor Field.
Oh boy, it's funny when you had that name. Like, oh right, that's why I did the nickname. I swear I saw some tweet where they're like, "Oh, today we're gonna get the announcement of who's playing
That's what
Uncle
they're
Fester."
saying. Yeah, they're gonna announce the casting for it.
So
So
I was like, "Oh, have they done that?" But like, why wouldn't they announce it first thing in the morning? It's like, when are they gonna drop it? Like, I don't know. But
my
either
nickname
way.
is purely associated with this movie.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are reviewing Hellraiser, the reboot, the 2022 version. I think this is going to be a very interesting review. I think this is going to be a good one. Kind of impromptu for Taylor joining me, and we'll see if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But Taylor Field, where can they find? We got reviews. We just had Werewolf by Night. We got this drop in. We had Rings of Power, She-Hulk with Daredevil. It's just, we're review heavy right now. And then next week, talking about horror. If you guys like horror, Halloween Ends. Me and Taylor are going to be doing that. And then the week after Black Adam, there's just there was like a little lull I think in August of like, okay, it's like we got a couple of shows, but now it's like the review season. Games coming out, like I know the new God of War, Call of Duty, Gotham Knights. So it's just like movies, TV, video games. We're reviewing a bunch of stuff. Where can they find it all?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find that with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, everything you need to know is down below. Our video, our audio, our podcast network that has 8 other shows. Where to find us, our Discord, and most importantly, our Patreon. Head over there and get everything ad free. Different tiers. There's 4 different tiers with a whole bunch of selections. Ad free tiers, exclusive tiers, early tiers, voting tiers. Get to call in and join after 9 tiers. And big thank you to everyone on the Patreon producer tier. And then head over to Manscaped. Use that GVPOD. You know, there's a lot of cutting in this movie. You want to be cutting those pubes right off of Manscaped. Use GVPOD, 20% to get free shipping as well till the end of the year with GeekVerse, which is great. And then our biggest thing right now, November 5th, 9 a.m. is the start of our 24-hour Extra Life charity stream. We're trying to raise $3,500 towards BC Children's Hospital. We would like your help. If you could donate, that'd be great. Any amount, like even if it's $1, a couple bucks, that's fine. Like there's been times where we were very close to the goal and all it took was like a $5 to get us over. It counts, and that's all tax deductible. And if you can't, we understand. Head over and on the day of the stream, please like, share, promote, Facebook post, Twitter, everything like that. Because if you can't donate, maybe someone has. And I know you might go like, oh, that's kind of weird. We've had multiple times where people have donated, and that's the first day we met them. Amanda, who's been on Geek First before we go on Vodka Stream, one day she found the stream because of Scott. She donated, and now we're friends with her. So it's like that's how it's. We're not friends with her because she gave us money. Just like we've had her on. We had her on for Taylor's trial, but like that's where it just happened. Sometimes people go, you know what, these guys are doing a good thing. I like the cause, or they see our show and they're enjoying that. We're gonna give them some money. So that's why even sharing it helps. Taylor Field, you weren't originally scheduled for this review. Not a bad thing, but
you conned me into it.
Okay, now you're showing your. This is not the way. Okay, you're showing your hand, and I'm gonna introduce in a different way. So we're gonna go over the history of Hellraiser, stuff like that. But anyway, so this is a reboot. It's on Hulu. Was very mad. Well, I guess I luckily we have friends in the business that sent us some copies and things like that. But the fact it's on Disney Plus is super weird because everything that's been on Hulu, like Pam and Tommy, Prey, it was on Disney Plus. So maybe we'll talk about the newscast. But like really weird they didn't drop this. I would understand if they weren't having R-rated stuff on Disney Plus, but there's tons of R-rated stuff on Disney Plus. So it didn't really make sense why we don't necessarily get that. Between that and Chucky, we're just having a hard time getting horror over in Canada apparently. But anyway, so I'm talking about this movie and I'm saying to Taylor, I think you should give it a shot. You watch it because I watched it, and this is a very much different review, and we're gonna have more of a conversation than overalls here because I feel like we gotta tell a story. I absolutely loved this movie. This is fantastic. It's almost in my top 10 for the year. I think for horror movies, I think the only one I have above this is Nope, and this took me by surprise because I'm not even a big Hellraiser guy. I like the original, actually I like the original a lot. The rest of the series, that's fine, but I'm not always like that's one of my go-tos. Even though I watched this past one, the original, and I liked it the most I ever have. So anyways, I loved it. I was telling Taylor that you should give it a watch because I thought there's tons of things in here that Taylor liked. There's tons of lore. He's somebody that's used to like body horror and like torture porn and other movies and things like that. There's lots of cool monster types, and it's just like, especially, I just feel like it would fit in that realm of things he might like. And here's the thing, though. He said, well, when are you reviewing it? I got the receipts. I never once invite, which I'm fine. I'm always wanting to. That's why, other than Travis told you, which that's time, like, maybe I'm talking wrestling, things that are just traffic topics. When there's stuff that could everybody, I'd always rather do a cast with somebody. So, yeah, sure. But clarification, he made the first move. And then I said, because I'm like, oh, what you thinking of GIF? And he's like, oh, what, you trying to bait me in the review? Like, no, you asked about it. So Taylor, as the great Obi-Wan said, you have done this yourself, because I'm happy you're here, but I have to ask that, like I said, I feel like this checks a lot of boxes for things you like, but as a mini spoiler, it sounds like you did not enjoy your time with this film.
Yeah, maybe it's just like not an ideal movie to watch first thing in the morning at like 7 a.m.
That's fair.
That might have done it, but
my viewing was at 3 a.m. in the morning.
3 a.m. That's more of a
yeah.
spooky hour then,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm trying to figure out, because like my history with Hellraiser is I've only seen one other, and it was one with, I think, Lance Henriksen, and not Hellraiser Bloodlines.
There's
Maybe it
so many.
was.
Because to me, the original, which I probably can't even pitch you on the original. The original is much more smaller than this. Like, it's very small scale. But to me, the original is like fantastic. Second one's like good, and then after that, it's just like a mix of bad to me. Like, it's just not all of them, but I think there's tons of like straight to DVD sequels and stuff. Like, it got very kind of the way that Leprechaun went at the end or stuff, which you actually like those ones, but it got very straight to DVD cheesy as we went along, and it definitely was more about Pinhead. But
Henry Cavill was in one of these.
He was in a Hellraiser, and that's what
Cast as Mike in Hellraiser Hellworld 2005.
Hellworld.
No way, that's real.
No, I bet it is. Cause that's the thing. Like, and here's the thing: I will fully admit, unlike when I'm saying I'm a big fan of like Jason stuff like that, I've seen all of them, like the Chucky Leprechauns. I don't actually think I've seen all the Hellraisers. I think I gave up at some point, and again, one day I wanted to retro them. I don't know if I'm gonna have to sell Taylor, but maybe the Henry Cavill thing will sell Taylor. We could do this.
I'd be intrigued. Yeah.
So you saw one of these like lower tier ones in the past. That's your only history with Hellraiser.
Yeah, that's my only history. Honestly, maybe it was Hellworld that I saw. I don't remember Henry Cavill, but I just remember Lance Henriksen in it. But yeah, so my experience is not super prominent with all the other films. The one that I did see, it was super small scale. It was in this mansion. People were just dying. I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. So when it comes to Pinhead, I don't know really much, except that it's got torture porn kind of thing component added to it. So when we're getting into this, I didn't know the backstory. I was going in pretty much clean slate, and I won't lie. Well, I can't say I won't lie. I'm not going to lie to you on a review. But there was some things that were intriguing, and I liked how they tackled it. And then, like you said too, like set pieces, character design, or costume design, all that kind of stuff was definitely like very intricate, very well thought out too. But then the characters, I was telling Madison, because she watched some of this with me before she had to go to work. And I just said, Madison, this is the worst group of fucking friends you could have in this situation. They're all Goonies, not like Goonies, but
Goonies for life.
They're all loonies. Like, they're
Kids
doing
were not
so
harmed
much
in this
harm.
filming.
No, they're doing so much more harm than good. Like, if you were in this predicament with these fucking like tools, you're done. Like,
I can't wait to push
toast.
back in spoilers, because all those motivations, though, this is where I'm not going to say all these characters are great. I really like the main character, and I'll defend her because I like she's a recovering addict, so they're having this fun thing of, like, for a while you don't know, is she just still, like, we know, okay, creepy shit's going on, but for her it's like, is she just fucked up because she's like she's an addict and she's trying to recover all this stuff. So it's like all these things are happening. I like her journey with, there's a brother character and a boyfriend character. The other characters, I'm not going to say, oh, these are some really good characters, but all those motivations that you're listing off that might be dumb, they're all in the sense to try and help. They're good spirited about it. They have the best intention. Tell him he's wrong. Shay, I know Shay's not watching fucking 2022 Hellraiser. I'm gonna screenshot this and send this to Shay and be like, "Oh, tell me what did you think of Hellraiser 2022? Get on this review." Which the parts that Madison did watch, did she like it?
Not particularly. No. I told her, like, yeah, Travis says just be warned, because she was having her chamomile tea in the morning. It's like, this is rough. It's not a breakfast movie. Fuck.
No, it's not. No, not at all. So you were like you were talking about the characters, but overall with this movie, was it like, I'm not trying to get your score out of you and whatnot, but so would you recommend it? Do you, if you don't like it, how much do you not like it? Like, where are you? Because we've had a very, I'd say, mixed year of horror where like we had The Black Phone, which I feel like a lot of people liked, but you and me were like liked it enough. We had Barbarian, where you absolutely loved it and I just liked it. We had X, which I didn't like. I liked it like fine. It was just like, that was just like a pass for me, where you enjoyed that one a lot. And I think there's other movies this year, varying degrees as far as that. So where's your kind of meter on this one as far as the horror films you've watched this year?
It's it's um it's not something that I will be rewatching. I'll say that. But is it something I think other people probably enjoy? I think to a degree, if you're into the Saw movies, I think if you're into the original Hellraisers, and I imagine you probably would be seeing this, then I think that there's a special slot for horror fanatics that this will definitely be up their alley. For me though, it's still films like Barbarian. I'm not saying that this is going to be put all the way down where Smile is. Like I definitely didn't enjoy Smile all that much, but
I don't get. I'm still shocked how many people like it. Everyone I talk to just is a big fan. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But
I would put this over because it was freaky. It didn't have to rely on jump scares, but it relied on just the burn of something eventually like peaking and something eventually happening. And while some things were very grotesque to behold and to view, there were still a lot of other things that just definitely creeped me out, and I thought it's very like eerie. And yeah, so all in all, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely not the worst for me this year for horror movies.
my prediction is, I bet one day you're going to return to it. You know why? Because I felt like that way with her. Not the exact way. I was higher on Hereditary, but I was like that where I rewatched it this season because there's just times where I just kept thinking of certain images and whatnot. And then on the second rewatch, I was like, I would probably give it like a perfect score or something like that. And the only reason I say is because like I feel like whether you, maybe it's not you don't rewatch this one, but maybe you dip your toes in the other ones. Because I just felt like the lore of the Cenobites is like Taylor written all over it as far as like these gods and everything. And that's where I feel like there's certain concepts that right now, maybe the film you didn't love, but you're going to be thinking about like weeks later and you're going to be like, man, I want some more. Like I want a little bit. Like here's my other question. If they were to say, hey, we're going to do a sequel to this movie, would you watch that sequel?
I probably would watch the sequel.
Okay. So I think maybe I guess what I'm taking is like you like some of the concepts, but it was maybe the characters that you were laced with in this world. Like it was the concept you like, but maybe not the execution of it.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that because, like you said, there are some things like the Cenobites, yeah. Like
which look great, like that, and they're all practical. Like I'm okay, maybe not. I think I'd say the majority of them are practical, and if there's any CG, they're probably just like touching some things up. And they were practical in the originals, but man, like these to me are some of them are the prey. Like it's not a big spoiler, like you're talking about Mr. Chatters. Like he's in the original, that whole like mouth and the sound design they have that character. Like what I really want is how we got that Resident Evil 7 game. I want someone to do that, but with the Hellraiser game. The way that there's certain scenes, and this is okay, it's a minor spoiler, but I feel like you would understand this, but the sound design of like Mr. Chatters at one point is chasing a character, but you can't really see him in frame, but all you hear is like the teeth just clicking around, and you're like, oh my god. Imagine that in a video game if you were just running around and you hear like those teeth, and you're like, holy shit. So like those monsters, and I tried to look up on Wikipedia because it's a streaming movie. I don't think they have a budget, or like it's not listed, but for the budget, I feel like this movie looked really good. Like I feel like it's like Prey, where these movies are getting smaller budgets, but for what they're getting, they look better than some of these movies with like massive budgets. Because both Prey, there was like a few times, but like both Prey and this for a Hulu movie, I think look fantastic. And the same thing with Prey. I really am bummed out this was not on theatrical, because there's some visuals I would have loved to seen on the big screen with some of these Cenobites and some of the world and everything. So
the Cenobites kind of reminded me, I don't know why, just the whole gods thing and all that, just a edge of like a darker turn of Ghostbusters or something with I am Zool.
That's who they're gonna
like
fight in the next movie, the Ghostbusters versus the Cenobites. These kids are just like getting torn up and like, don't you like pain? And like, Paul Rudd with the Cenobites, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, like I gave my overall. Yeah, I'm just to give a little backstory. So I've seen I've seen 1 and 2, and then a mixture of the other ones. I think for me, so the very first time, and maybe one day we will retro it, I was not really old enough when I saw the first Hellraiser, and then I had rewatched it in the past and really liked it, and then I rewatched it again this year, really liked like it. And what I like about this is it's Hellraiser to me is it's an R-rated movie, but it's that type of X-rated category where they're getting into a lot of conversations and it's not so much like a heady movie because it is very body horror and stuff like that. But we've talked about so many times where there's so many movies that I agree with, like slashers, where like sex, drugs, rock and roll, they should be in there, right? But with sex in movies overall, sometimes it's just kind of in there for the sake of in there. It's in there because they want to show an actress nude and get some, people riled up and everything like that. But this is a movie that, much like the first Hellraiser, it ties like sex and pain and pleasure all together. This is a movie that I feel like every priest would not want you to watch. It feels just like one of those movies where it's that type of horror that sticks with you of like, nothing's happy about it. There's no like breath of fresh air, like a moment to relax. It's just constant pain, and not just like the characters, but you going through it mentally. It's just like many twists that are just like it gets worse, and it's just doom and gloom. But I really like the set piece, especially the third act. They go to a location that is shown throughout the movie, but they go to this location. Absolutely loved it because I don't know if this place exists. I think there's some green screen going on, but again, it does not look like that. Like I think the cinematography is really good. I like the score, but I don't know. I'm gonna watch this movie again. I don't know if it stands as like one of the best horror scores of the year, but I gotta watch that. I liked all the Cenobites. They obviously I don't think it's the first time, but they like gender swapped Pinhead. But I don't think that matters because like Pinhead, I don't think it matters if you are a man or woman playing that character. You're just like an explanation of pain and everything like that, and that all delivered. And the main actress, I have to look up her name. It was pronounced in a way, or it's a way, Odessa. I'm not sure. It's Azion, her last name, but she's somebody never seen in everything. Really like her. I really want to see her in other things. I thought she carried her role. I liked her as a protagonist. I like this idea, and that's the thing with Hellraiser and the Cenobites and Pinhead, all this stuff. They're always targeting the people that have gone through damage or kind of the weak-minded, because they're the people that could fall for these things. And this is a character who is a former, trying to be a former addict, but like is slipping in and out and stuff like that. Like, this is a character that's gone through some struggles, so they're just very manipulative, and they're just. It sounds bad, and I guess it's one of the first like times it's worked. As far as there's a few characters like a Joker or stuff, but they're just evil. There's not really any sort of things, but they're also evil in a way of kind of a karma sort of way. Like it's a cautionary tale of appreciate things you have, because if you want more or you kind of push too far, some things can happen to you, and some really bad things. But yeah, I really liked the visuals. I like the performance from the main actors. I'll agree to say like the rest of them are, I think, just kind of fine. Like I like them enough to get us through. I think it's paced well. Like maybe you could like chop a few little things here, no pun intended, but I think it has a good rising action, and I really enjoyed this. And this was something that the first half an hour, I was liking it, but I was like, oh, it's getting a lot of praise. I don't really know like why it's getting so much praise. I thought I was having another kind of smile moment again. But for me, this one had the opposite, where it just kept ramping up. And I was like, okay, this is like better than the original for me. But the original has like a very fun plot as well. So anything else non-spoilers, Taylor?
No, I think that covers it.
All right, so let's get into spoilers. So after this, we will be right back. And we're back. So I think this one, it's good to start from the beginning. But this is where I dropped in my Letterboxd review. But this, just like the original, this movie fucks. Because where does it open up? We're opening up at an orgy. And that's all. That means that we're in for a good time and everything like that. But I just want to get your thoughts on... So we get this young character. He's in this mansion. There's a lot of fucking going on. It was surprised, but I kind of liked it that there was this like much older woman. And like an older woman where I feel like could easily be like... his like grandma or something like that, but she was like, I guess she had game because she convinced this young guy to like, she was taking him somewhere. Like
felt like I was being convinced. She was so convincing.
Well, and that's the Hellraiser movies are they're always very sexual. And I feel like like I was trying to say, they're very sin heavy. And that's where as a kid, it's like you're watching, like, oh, I don't know if I should be watching this. They're movies that you would not want to be watching with your parents, because you got to appreciate, I fucking love this movie. The movie, we're going to talk about this young guy, and he ends up getting killed. Bad shit happens to him, right? But they splice with he's screaming. It transitions into the title card, and then it like morphs his screaming with sexual screaming of our main character and her boyfriend getting on. So it's like painful screaming, and then it goes to sex screaming. Like, fuck yeah, what a transition! Like from pain to pleasure. But that's the whole fucking thing, and that's what I love. Where, again, talking about like X-rated stuff, and this is where stuff like 50 Shades of Grey or people watch like, oh, I feel so dirty. Watch this. That's not even in like the fucking scope scope of it. But you talk like there's so many kinks and so many things in the world, and this is where we're going with this review of like with pain being mixed with pleasure and trying to get that. And they don't really explicitly say that in this movie. They kind of drop a few lines, but what I love about the first Hellraiser, they're going to call the next one Hellraiser, is there's a, I can't remember, Frank, he's a character in the movie, and he says that these gods, the Cenobites, they showed me the ultimate highs of pain and pleasure, though. And that's what this whole movie was, and that's where I thought like right away this director got it, as far as they transition this pain scream into a pleasure scream. But either way, you have this young guy, he's in a mansion, this old lady flirts with him, says, or older I'll say, and gets him up to a room, and then some crazy shit starts to happen. What do you think when all of a sudden like this kind of setup of we meet, you know, the orgy going on, then there's this guy that has the puzzle box and stuff like that. Our young protagonist is just, he's getting Drew Barrymore and scream, you think he might be the lead guy. No, there's chains grabbing, everything like that. What do you think of the setup of this kind of the plot, which we get referred back to later? But what do you think of the opening?
Well, in a horror movie, you know, your first couple characters you introduce to, you can never assume that these are your main characters. You always got to assume, okay, they're going to be just killed off for the most part, and we're going to get the main character coming in after the fact or something like that. So in the off chance, there are some horror movies where you get one that's just subject to horrible pain and could survive and become the main character later on with the help of other new additions. But in this case, no. Our guy was looking for a good time with this elderly woman. Well, not elderly woman. She was definitely still...
She's older than him, I'll say. That's
yeah,
older
like,
than him, yeah.
Like a clean 40s, 50s. No, actually, I'd say like clean 50s, but like was looking pretty good for 50s. And she, yeah, like you said, she's got game. She was trying to rope him in, lure him in, and yeah, there's just this it's weird. Like I would never go into a mansion that's kind of remote. It's just for a party and just not question. It's just a big orgy. That's not my MO. But clearly it was this guy's.
No comment.
Clearly it was this guy's goal, and he was out there looking for a good time. Yeah, I know that the one I watched before, I remember there being, you know, because being a younger guy is like, oh my god, and sex scenes. But
yeah, there's always sex. Yeah,
there was just a brief alluding to it, where you see one quick scene, and then they hinted at it when he talks to, I think Serena was her name, but after that, I didn't get any kind of sexual tones or tension. Even when they did like the actual sex scenes, like I was like, oh, I'm not even like really feeling it. It just feels like it's just like a fuck. But yeah, when the guy was just doing the shit, like touching the box, like it was cool because I didn't understand what was going on. I thought, okay, you don't want to be touching this box because you're gonna unleash something. You're gonna unleash Pinhead. That's my whole kind of notion going into this, but I didn't understand the steps to it, the different tiers, which I thought was pretty cool. I do think, though, that this guy he was not thinking clearly, because why the fuck would you just, like, you know something's wrong with the way this creepy dude, Voight or whatever, not John Voight, what is his name? Roland Voight?
Roland,
yeah.
Yeah, so but he thought he was going to get laid, so he wasn't thinking clear. You know, he had no idea what was going on. That young guy.
That thought should have immediately left his mind when this, like, weird, like, eccentric rich dude stumbles into the room and just starts like, oh, do you like it? Like, you know something's off.
Yeah, but you gotta assume this guy going to an orgy, maybe he's swinging both ways. So maybe he's like, oh, this is part of the thing. Like, I'm about to get on with this lady and this guy, you know?
Yeah,
what's in this box? He's thinking it's some sex toy. No. it's a really bad toy and stuff like that.
I like that they kept it secret after he like successfully opened the box, but fuck, like the design of the box, I'm assuming that's pretty much like spot on how it was in the original. I do like that
some
concept
variances,
of him,
but pretty
like,
much, yeah.
The way he like, I don't know. I just wouldn't feel safe. Like, I'm never gonna feel safe touching any modern day puzzle boxes now. Just like,
is that something you do a lot? Just like
I played with like a couple of them, but yeah, just like clipping in and then just that hand on here and like clicking and the fucking knife shooting up. Fuck, that just sucks.
You gotta wear some like those like farmer gloves that are really like thick and stuff. Then you could do the puzzle box. Because if any
I don't know if that would help.
No, I don't think so. That thing cuts deep all the time. It's like, but yeah, I like the setup, and what I like about it is how they refer back to it later, because it happens and then you jump. It literally says 6 years. They do the classic like what every movie does nowadays, right? 6 years later, and you're like,
I missed the 6 years later. I didn't get that till after Roland was freaking out in the mansion.
So that's okay. We're in spoilers, so I'm gonna kind of splice some of the ending and whatnot because I feel like we're talking about Roland now. So I don't know what's been going on with them, but that could potentially mean for 6 years this man has been going through ultimate pain where they have this device, and this is what I've always enjoyed about Hellraiser, is like it's like Saw, and like, okay, how can you create these kills or these punishment, these torture devices and make them fresh and new and stuff like that. And this could be and this is where someone please call me out in comments that if it's happened, if it's like a tribute to another one, let me know, because I'm not that deep in the Hellraiser knowledge. Like I said, 1 and 2, the rest are all murky and some I haven't even seen. So it's this device that goes through his torso, and it just like it has like his like heartstrings or his nerve endings, and they're like it's like a spaghetti maker where you can move it around, but it doesn't ever unleash. It's just always going through his body, tightening. So it's this thing of, but it'll keep him alive. It's not designed to kill him. It's just designed to keep him alive.
It's supposed to be sensational, right?
And because it's like get you on and that's where it's like the sex scenes. Yeah, I agree with you that later on there's like, I think there's like a little nudity, but they're not like overly and stuff like that. But it's like that constant theme of like, yeah, pleasure or sensation, stuff like that. And so this guy, I don't know if it happened right away, but he is now being tortured for at least probably 5 years and stuff like that. And what I really liked is, so we get this setup, right? And later on, so we meet our character. Oh, I should bring up their names because I am going to forget them. But either way, so we meet our character. So it's our main one that Riley, and then what's her boyfriend's name? Come on, IMDb. Trevor. We meet them. There's a sex scene, stuff like that, and I like all the subversion expectations because and even then, this is where I disagree with you a little bit, because so it's not like super nudity, it's not very long, but this is gonna make the review awkward, but the sex scene's going on, and she keeps asking him to go harder. So it's like hitting that again of like that mixing of like, yeah, pleasure, but you're wanting this guy to like rail you as hard as possible, and that's where it's again this good like play on this like pain and pleasure. I love the subversive expectations when the sex scene ends, because he says that he loves her, and she's just like freaks like what? Like, what do you mean? Oh, sorry. And then he's like, sorry, I was just in the moment. She's trying like not to like, I don't want to talk about. So later on, when we get we're in full spoilers, when we get the reveal that he was the one that set this all motion, kind of set her up.
Hardly a reveal. Fuck.
Well, it's not, but see, what I like about it is I feel that they were playing it up, that I agree with you, that I felt something was a little off them, but I like that it was the verse where so many times in horror movies, our main character's in love, and the guy who's like kind of he's like playing it up, or he might be faking it. And this was the reverse, where he's the one saying he like loves her, and she won't say that back. Like, she's not. So that's where I wonder with this boyfriend, like, was the love, like, I think he did end up falling for her in the long run, because I think he was trying to help them out at the end. But I did like that. I thought we were going to get a moment at one point, oh, she's going to forgive him because he's trying to help her out. Maybe at the end, she's going to forgive him. I like that when she had the chance, like, you got to sacrifice somebody right away. It's like, sorry. And like, she got rid of him, but it's very mixed feelings as far as like, she looked like there was
I don't think there's mixed feelings. Like, he was a goon right up to the end, because for Voight's like, oh, go get him. He needs to be close. And so he saw her down the stairs trying to get him down. Like, the whole time he was just like, he kept making mistakes. And I thought, oh, he's just such a doofus. And him saying, I love you, in retrospect now, I think he was just trying to lure her in further.
He didn't need to, though, in that moment, though, when they're having sex. He doesn't need to at all, though, right? So that's the thing where it's like, because that killed the sex. It made her turned off. She stopped, right?
But it's not about, like, maybe he thought it would work, because again, everything he did in this movie, he was just a fucking idiot. Even Voight said, like, yeah, you've just been like making mistakes, supposed to be this way, and he just kept being so stupid. And there were so many times where I thought, okay, like, there are times when characters can be so idiotic in a movie where you think maybe they are just idiotic, but in this, it's like, no, he's being so stupid that he's obviously in on it. And I lured to when they were driving in the van, and he's just being crazy, like, I missed the turn and all this stuff, like, oh, we're going the wrong way. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, we left the house, but now we got to go back to the house because we got to take the car. And then the guy, Caleb or whatever his name, Colin, is like, oh, you want to go back to the house? He's like, yeah, well, we'll go back to the house and just regroup and think, like, let's just get back to the house. It just became so suspicious. So
that's fair. My points was at the end, though, when he was like, they found out they could sacrifice the Cenobites, and he was actively telling Roland, like, you don't have to kill these people. Like, we could do, like, you didn't have to do that. And not so much regretful that Riley was like, oh yeah, like, I could be in love with and stuff. I like that when she made that choice, and because what happens is we have her brother that he gets. I was surprised he died so early, because that's a guy from 13 Reasons Why. So I thought he was I thought he was gonna be around for a bit, but he wasn't. But when it was him, and then his boyfriend's name was Colin. So I know we're jumping over, but just to set it up, that so she's staying at her brother's house. She's recovering from addiction right now, on and off, stuff like that. Her brother is with a relationship. We'll get to how he dies and stuff like that in a bit. But later on, that he's missing, and her and friends are looking for said brother, right? Colin's there, and there's a point where the Cenobite, and we'll get in the actual box, it always needs like a sacrifice, right? So it's like taking Colin, the boyfriend, and she makes the choice to sacrifice Trevor, who was her boyfriend, but obviously was like kind of bad and like it was sneaky and stuff like that. What I meant though, as far as not that she was so much still like in love and like, oh, I didn't want to do it. I like that when she killed him, it was still semi-emotional for her because she was like actively choosing to sacrifice a human. It wasn't like the classic horror, like, it's your turn now, fucker. And then it's just like she becomes a badass. Like it still felt like to me with the main character, she felt like, man, I'm still having to have someone's life be taken away. And also in like a very terrible like way and a fashion, like painful. So that's what I liked. It wasn't a cheesy like 90s horror of like karma's a bitch, get him. Like I liked that it was like, I don't want to do this, but like you it's your fault, you gotta go. It just kind of felt like a math equation where I'm not my brother's boyfriend, I'm not letting them take him. You're the guy that set this all in motion. And she did get mad at him earlier, so I like all that stuff. But what I enjoyed about that mystery, where I agree with you, that part is it's sieved through and you could know and things like that. And I guess I kind of like that Roland kind of approaches him as the third act starts, so it's not like a big reveal. And then like at the end game of the movie, they didn't try to paint it up as like this huge twist. They revealed it to us, and then the characters revealed after. What I did like is this like they kept trying, they a few times tried to get rid of the box, and it kept popping up. That's what I like, because I was like, in my mind I was like, okay, how does this usually, what happens, it's like they find this box in other movies and you're just tied to it. But that's where I was like, how does this box, like, there's something in my head can like, it just doesn't make sense that it's just kind of chose her by themselves. Like, why does the box, like, the box shouldn't be sentient. It should be, it's a curse. So that's why I like that. Okay, he was putting in motion. He was putting it there. He just found these people to sacrifice, which, yeah, I'm glad he got out the way he did. Man, when those wires wrapped around him, and with Colin, it was bad because it wrapped around his whole body and then it stopped. But, like, I love how realistic it was where it wrapped around Trevor's arm and it got like a bad angle. So instead of wrapping around his arm, it just like ripped his skin off. Like, oh my god, some of the kills in this and everything like that. But yeah, that's what happens where they go, I can't remember, it was like some sort of warehouse, or they're getting into some tomfoolery or something, Trevor and Riley, and they find this box that, like we talked about, Trevor placed there. And I loved the setup, because I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen. Don't open this box. And I love the fake out of she opened the box, but the knife missed her. And I thought that was really clever. Like, okay, like, how are we going to get things going? And man, what a series of unfortunate events that she goes on another bender. Her brother tries to find her. She finds her on the, like, what is that thing that goes? Is it a carousel?
Merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round, thank you. And the box is there, and the brother tries to help her out, and it cuts him. And that's what I like, that it kind of accidentally got these things in motion, because at the same time, yes, Trevor was an asshole. He set her up. He set the box there. But you can also go, and this is, I think, the moral of the story, where if she wasn't struggling with these addictions, this might have not happened. Like, if she wouldn't have gone that fight with her brother, she would have listened to him. If she would have been a better person and kind of like try to cop up to some of her own shit, maybe her brother would have been trying to find her in this box if it would never happened. So there's some guilt there, and I like that. And then we just go on a certain, journey, and we learn that, much like the other ones, where, okay, to complete this puzzle box and to try to get out of it, and there's like all these equations at the end that you can kind of get a wish from it, you have to constantly be sacrificing people towards it, whether it's by you could choose or if they're getting nicked by this knife. So what did you think about this concept that she's this owner of this box, and really the only way to bestow and get rid of it is you have to sacrifice people? We'll get into like the Cenobites part when they kind of figure that out, but what did you think of that part of being kind of labored with, hey, you gotta start killing some people off if you want to get rid of this box, or get a wish, I guess,
Yeah, it's it's obviously you can speak to it more easily in retrospect, but it's just, you kill someone or get someone killed and you start working your way up to get your wish. It's just, they don't give you like very easy instructions that you're supposed to be killing people when you like trigger it, because it's very fluky. And I think if you activate the box's first step without cutting yourself, then you are up to bat, right? Then it becomes your box. But that's a very hard thing to do, because what if you are the first one to be toying with it and you open it up and you cut yourself, and then it goes to the next phase. But then who gets the wish? Is it just the last person that happens to be holding it? Because I thought that the guy who had the device, Roland, at the end was going to get that wish with this thing, but he
He
didn't.
did.
I didn't see it as a wish though. I just saw it as like there's no like give backs or anything. It's just exchanges. So was that his wish? Because I thought like, why is this God just
Well,
granting wishes for everyone?
no, I think you're right that he didn't get a wish because he didn't purse, and that's where I'm a little wonky on that. Where okay, so I guess what happens is though, I'm trying to think. Yeah, because let's say you get this box, right? I know that someone's gonna be mad because there is a lore reason. So he gets this box and it's been going for 6 years, and he has to kill these people. Is it just certain chains where? Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I'm trying to think. As the box happens, he gets this, as 6 years later, he's trying to get rid of this box. So obviously he needs these people to die off and stuff like that. But they did say she was in control of the box, so that's where I'm maybe a little murky there. But at the same time, I'm guessing. Is she just in control of the box because she actually was the holder of it, like because she was
I'm
with the
guessing
majority of
so.
the film? So I guess that's where, and I guess you're right that he didn't get a wish because he kind of like, I felt like they were not happy with the way he went about things, even though it's a weird way of like you got to kill people and feed souls, but it's like you're kind of being like a, I think with them, they are kind of mad that he didn't do it himself. Like I felt like the Cenobites have a very much like, and I think that's where it works towards like realizing things as far as like if gods are real, and sometimes you go same thing, right? Everyone talks about this, and now we got super sexual, getting really religious. Where if there is a god, every conversation is okay. If there is a god, why does he allow a tsunami to happen to kill people? And so it's like they get in that situation again with the Cenobites, where it's like okay, you want him to take lives, but if he doesn't take lives by himself or this certain way, he's like broken the rules and you're not happy with that. And that's where what he wanted though, and this is where I think he got like it wasn't an exchange or a wish, he wanted a release of this thing. He just wanted it out. And Pinhead said, well, I can grant you that. And he did say anything other than this would be better. And I was like, man, come on now. You know how these people work. Like, there could be something much worse. And it was worse because he got turned into a Cenobite at the end, which I thought that's a fucking...
Chain through his chest. That hole that healed up didn't last long.
No, exactly. He fucking, his dick's getting skinned. It's
Oh.
like, and he's just getting the full on joke and everything like that. But I felt, man, that's where I could agree with you. Where some of these characters, it's like, look at these, look at what they've done to you, and look at these Cenobites. Look at what's happening to them, and him saying anything would be better than this. Okay, you know that can't be the case. You know they could do so much worse to you. So I thought that was like a little whatever, but I thought that was like kind of that almost bedazzled sort of be careful what you wish for in a way, right? Because he should just wish for death, but he just wanted it out. And even then, talking about budgetary stuff, when his whole torso healed, I thought that looked great. Like the spine coming back, the heart, like it looked obviously disturbing, but that was kind of the morality play where she also was talked about again, where he's a guy that it sounds like they just implied he was born with money and he's always had money and he's always trying to get further, get higher in life, stuff like that. And that was kind of their punishment as far as your whole life you've kind of taken advantage of people and things. And that's where it's very Saw-like too. And Hellraiser obviously did it first, but it's like his whole life he's taking advantage of people. So they're doing the ultimate flip where they're going to be taking advantage of him forever. He is like a puppeteer of pain where he's just going to be with them feeling pain all the time and things like that. So I liked the moral of the story, but there were some things with Roland, and there's stuff that I'm waiting for maybe a YouTube explainer to tell me exactly the rules of the box as far as how that carryover works. But I guess if you're holding the box and you don't get cut, you're good to go. But she does get cut later on at one point, you know?
Yeah,
so.
and that seals, because how do they explain it? That seals her to the box where they can they can kill her basically. If she doesn't get any more victims, then they'll just fucking tap her. So tag her in.
Yeah, the blood now is seeped in the box and everything like that. So let's take another ad break, and then we'll be right back. We'll probably start talking about some Cenobites and stuff like that. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, and I liked the first one with the brother. He helps her, and then the brother just disappears. So when she wakes up, she has no idea. She thought she might have hallucinated, stuff like that. And let's talk about the friends before we go on the Cenobites, because there's lots back and forth. They're looking at things. They go talk to that lady. That was a mistake. Her grabbing that box. They fight over it, and like
that bothered me. Like, what the hell were they trying? Like, what was the point of that scene? It was just a waste of time because Serena obviously knew that she shouldn't be handling this box, and the girl, like, why did she intentionally she at this point knew something was wrong with this box, and so our main actress just fucked her over. Like it just bothered me. It was so useless. She should have relinquished the box because she knew it was bad juju.
I think there was some clunkiness with that scene because I think they were trying to imply that Riley really wanted to keep the box because it might lead to getting her brother back or something, but they weren't. They weren't forthcoming with that information. It was just a lot of to me headcanon you had to do. But yeah, to literally be like wrestling over the boxes, like I don't know, this feels very risky, especially for the other character. It's like you know what this box could do. Like, and even then, what was her when she's like. She's trying to get rid of it. Like, what was her plan? Like, how was she going to get rid of it? Like, that's where it was like, I think they just want a scene where, okay, we want another kill here. We want the girl to get cut and stuff like that. Fine, whatever. I think one of the most effective kills later on, and I think the most effective scene that was like a brutal thing is, it's another, I'll pull up her name, but she was a part of that friend group. And this is where I'll push back, where you said you didn't like their decisions. To me, what I push back is, their decisions to come in the mansion, even though she told them to come in the mansion, helping her out, it was all because they're thinking that she's just fucked up because she's an addict, right? So on their point of view, if we had a friend, right, who was, let's say Kirklin's an addict, he might because he's fucking, going on Shay's account, getting in trouble, but, let's say this, our whole life, we've had no spookiness and we think he's an addict, right? And all of a sudden, he's just running off, acting very strange. We're not going to think it's some fucking poltergeist, like Cenobite thing. We're just going to think he's off the wagon. And that's to me why not only they're trying to find her brother and be helpful that way, they're also trying to help her. So that's the only reason why I push back, as far as I agreed with their decisions in that. They weren't the smartest made, but I agree with their motivation of the decisions.
If Kirkland's brother mysteriously disappears in a setting that doesn't make any sense, okay, yeah, questionable for sure. But then if it escalates and now this other person that they would have known, at least Trevor knew about the fact that the woman disappeared, and I thought, okay, now we got some.
The
crazy
friends
shit
didn't know
going
that
on.
though,
and they should have.
And
I
Trevor
thought
was in on it though, so he doesn't count either, right? Because he's wanting this shit to happen.
Yeah, that's fair. I honestly I laugh because okay, the boyfriend of the brother, Trevor, showing up, and the fucking roommate. I was like, why the fuck is the roommate here? But I get it, like concern and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah,
but I still
friend group.
I still just found it kind of humorous. I don't know, very. It was when they showed up, I just kind of chuckled.
Yeah, so yeah, and it was just like, oh, you're all here, gang. But I will say what we got out of that was Nora's death. And I feel like, so they kind of, lots of times, and this is where I agree with you, I think the use of jump scares, in my opinion, smile, take note, this was great. It's like, you'd get a couple like music breaks, but I would like it where just in the middle, they have this thing, the brother's missing. Again, she's not really dealing with it. She's just going to go get pounded by Trevor. So I like that they're having sex, and then just like off to the side, she's seeing like Mr. Chad, and it has to like ruin sex for you. But that's what I liked, where it was the slowly revealing, and even if it cut to the character, it wasn't like a loud noise and like, look, they're right in your face. It was them always like walking into the shadows, like coming, like appearing, like, or like you could see their silhouette of like, is that them? And then they walk forward like, oh fuck, that is them, and stuff like that. So I really liked everything they did with the Cenobites, how they play them, how they use them. And that scene, I think when you get your fully first reveal of them, because this happens and then they're all over in the movie. Like I was talking about Kirkland, because he was talking about Pinhead, and Pinhead in the original Hellraiser movie, he's in it maybe for like 10 minutes, maybe even less than that. Like he's not the character, or the story is more about the box and what's happening with it. It's not so much about the Cenobites, which this movie I felt was like a 50-50. I felt like the first half was very much about like the mystery in the box, and then the second half was, hey, the Cenobites are here and they're gonna fuck you up. But that scene with Nora, when the slow reveal, like the chains come and get her and they're stringing her up and all the Cenobites are watching, and oh my god, you talk about torture porn, you talk about stuff there's a shot in this movie I'd never thought I would see. Pinhead takes a pin out of her head and she starts to put it in the girl's throat. Now that's already bad enough. You get an inside shot of the woman's throat, and what is so good about it is she's screaming. So you hear her scream, and then you go inside her throat and you hear like the reverberations like inside what a scream would sound like. Oh my god. And when you think it's done, no, they cut back to it. That's gonna stick with me for a very long time. That shot of the throat pin and everything like that. And then that's what I like after that. They're popping up. They're really explaining like, hey, this is what's going to happen, everything. And then we get this really fun, again, I don't know if they've done it in any of the previous movies, but I loved the twist of like she stabs one of the Cenobites and that counts as a sacrifice. And it's just like, it feels like such a cool video game moment of like, fuck, I've unlocked a new, like, this is how I could take out these people. And they have this whole plan, and fucking Roland messes it all up because he's in so much pain. He just wants to get out of this. He starts trying to kill people and take lives. But I'll also talk about a little bit, but in this middle portion, once they start being revealed, what did you feel about the Cenobites overall? Just their presence, their looks, kind of their lore. Obviously, Pinhead is like the leader and stuff like that. What did you feel about the Cenobites in this film?
Yeah, again, their design was really, really impressive. It was really, really something else to kind of behold. The the scenes where they were like doing some of their goriest kills were definitely like really like cringy and terrifying. Again,
You
that
weren't eating
whole
breakfast
thing.
during that, were you?
No, at this point,
Okay.
my cereal was long done. The stuff where that pin went through the throat, oh, that was fucking gross. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
the other, I think
That's
it
a
was
first. I don't think I've ever
that's a
seen that in a
first.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
I
is
think
rare in movies. You don't see that. Like even Saw, you're like, we've been here. A pin through the throat and then an inside shot of the throat. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, Serena got like the pin through like her
Oh.
lip or her tongue or whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, but that wasn't as bad as the throat shot. Yeah, just brutal. The one Cenobite that was at the end, I think she called like the blind man that fucking runs. Man, that guy fucking runs.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
and it's so good.
she,
But but remember, he wasn't fast at first.
yeah.
It's such a good, like, I would love, and I don't even know, I don't want to say that, but this is why stuff I wish was in the theatrical. I would love, I don't think this movie, but whoever this director is, and I'm gonna watch that movie. I think his name was David Bruckner or something. I love the reveal of like he's walking slow for like a minute, and all of a sudden like it starts to loose up a little bit, and you're like, what the fuck's gonna happen here? And when his arms just come out and he just starts running, you're like, that's a moment where it's like, fuck, I wish I was in the theaters for this, because that would have been really cool. Of like, I loved the pacing of always slow, like it's like he's the easy one, like in a video game, right? We've all been like, oh, I could easily kill this one, and then when those latches come out, and yeah, he's blind, but like you said, he's fucking fast, and I thought that was a really cool reveal how to do that. Of like, oh, this is gonna be easy peasy. We'll get another Cenobite. We'll go home. No, this is not the one you wanted to get. You know.
Yeah, it was brutal when he was called out. Even though when the face was peeling off too and stuck in the gate, that was gross. But
yeah. Oh,
like
right, yeah.
the chick that was calling it out, like I wasn't expecting it because like put her hands out and then her hands split in half at the middles. Like fuck. God damn. That's when Madison came back downstairs and I was like, yeah, it's not looking good for our main characters right now.
Yeah, not really. No, and that's where I think they explained it. I have to watch again or get an explanation of how the house like kept them out. I know they explained something about the middle grading the bars, but I didn't exactly understand that. Maybe someone can just look and say, "Travis, you're dumb." But I did you understand that why the house couldn't keep them out unless was it literally like because I maybe there'll be explanation. I just don't personally buy there's anything on Earth that would be able to keep these characters out from anywhere, you know? But I think they were trying to say that the way that he made the pipes, like made a symbol, like the way, like it was like a cross, like the way if like you see a vampire, right, and it's like a cross that would hold them back. I think what they were trying to imply that the schematics he made of the house was to imply that they couldn't come in there. That was like a safe zone, I think. But did you have any theories or do you not understand that portion of how they couldn't come there unless they released that latch to let them in?
Yeah, I imagine he did some fandangling to make it and set it up as a protective casing.
Because he had lots of he had books of stuff, you know.
Yeah, he really did. So he knew what he was looking into, sort of,
Yeah.
and he knew
Yeah.
what to kind of, I guess, protect himself with. But I took it as these things are kind of like the Freddy Krueger kind of take. When you're in our
Yes.
world, you're subject to our rules a little bit, and I feel like that's how they were able to kill one
That's fair,
and
yeah.
sacrifice it because they just use the box to travel from their dimension to ours, and so when they're here, they're subject to whatever we use on them. So I think they could have been killed even with like guns and mortal weapons. No one just really tried.
Yeah,
So
and they didn't have any on hand and stuff like
Yeah.
they weren't like, especially the friends. They're not like, get your guns, we're going to get Riley and stuff like that. But and that's usually these situations, right? It's always people that aren't just it's not like Predator where they're going up against a bunch of soldiers. It's going up against a bunch of people that are, down on their luck or having a bad life and stuff. So, and then we get that. Also, we talked about what role, and they switch the gift, and they say, yeah, we'll release you from this, and they make him a Xenobite, and that's a scene where I thought the CG, like the white area, it was cool, but I think when they're making him a Xenobite, that's the most where it's okay. This is the budget's as high as it can go. Like it felt like this is like it didn't look like the smoothest, but it was fine because like that's a very crazy scene going on, things like that. And obviously, I do like when they go back downstairs in the orgy room. Did you see like that mural on the wall? It's just a bunch of people fucking.
Yeah, I did see that.
There's literally, I'm sorry to be graphic, but there's literally one mural where there's like a woman riding a man, and it's not just like suggested. They literally have like the penis penetrating this mural, but like it's just like, okay, this person was very into what they were wanting, and that's where, again, in this room where there's maybe bondage going on, that's where Colin was getting the wires. We talked about that. She changed it, says Trevor is the one that's going to go, and because she's fulfilled, she's done these 6 souls or boxes, whatever, she gets her wish. And at the end they listed all these ones, and one of them was Lazarus, like bringing someone back and stuff like that. And I love that this is, to me, kind of it does show that journey when she's just like, you could have anything you want, and like, and I love that Pinhead is trying to almost trick her of like, because she says, I don't want to wish for anything, and Pinhead's like, that seems like a waste. You've been through so much. You've lost through so much. Your whole life, you're going to have pain, like mental pain, and you're going to be thinking about all these people you lost for nothing. Don't you want something out of it? And I love the line of, I've seen what your gifts can do, or seen what gifts you offer, and no. And then even then, like, Pinhead has to be like, well, then you pick this gift, which is just the gift of like letting go and stuff like that. But I really like that ending. I love, again, Pinhead too, where Pinhead just took out this Roland person who were kind of like, oh, is an asshole. But again, mere seconds later, Pinhead is just, it's not about, like, Pinhead doesn't necessarily have a conscience. It's just they're always just trying to feed, like the Cenobites are just trying to feed, and they have like a sense of right or wrong, but they just, I love that we got the scene of her taking out an asshole, but then right away she's trying to trick our main character of like, no, like, make a wish, like you've earned it. And it's just like, and I was worried because there's a couple times they paused on Riley thinking, I was like, don't do this, because they really center on the Lazarus thing. And I love there's splices of the brother when she would just like see the brother, and then it's like him getting ripped up by chains. There's one part too where she's hugging the brother, and the brother like turns into like mushy, like a body and everything like that. That's an allusion to the very first movie, where what it is there's a guy that comes back. He escaped the Cenobites, and all he is he's just like a skeleton that has like flesh on him, and he needs his lover to kill people so he can slowly get back. And that's what I love. That, to me, that was a tribute to that, because they had the brother looking like this gushy like figure, so it's kind of like that where, well, you could kill him, bring him back. But I think if they would have brought him back, it would have been like the very first movie, where he would have been the skeleton flesh character, and she would have like had to keep killing even more to get him back. So again, that's like this cautionary tale of like, be careful what you wish for. So what did you feel about the resolution, and her and Ryan, or her and Colin, the boyfriend, drive away, and like it's very doom and gloom, but it's like, it's not even a happy ending. It's just that we actually had 2 characters that did escape, like they did get away with it. What their life is after, I don't know, but they did survive and kind of pass the test. And I think Riley did feel like, to me at least, as a main character, she felt like she had changed over the movie, and she's not gonna take the easy way out anymore.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like, for our main character, she definitely did grow in that regard, and she definitely did change. And I think that's good. Like, that's what you want in your character.
You at least want the main character to go through something,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. So I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed seeing her kind of like grow. And when the heaviness of that moment, when Pinhead is like, "Oh, you choose to carry this weight, knowing what you've done on your shoulders, as opposed to everything else." Like,
yeah,
really. And I thought, like, yeah, fuck, that is heavy.
Because that would suck. Like, yeah, it is true. Like, to me, she's making the right choice. Like, don't make any more wishes or anything like that. But it is just like, yeah, your goal was okay to get rid of this curse. You got to kill 6 people. But if you do that, you get someone at the end. And then to not choose that and just think about, man, I just had to. But you just had to, I guess, kill these people to survive. And I don't know what life you're gonna have after, because that's a lot of trauma.
Yeah,
no,
really,
no
really
therapist is gonna get that out.
No, not a fucking chance.
I look at my note. Yeah, so tell me about your life. Let me see. I don't think I have anything else. No, I hit all my notes there. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up for this one? Any scenes, kills, moments?
don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Then you can transition to what are your final thoughts and a score for this movie.
Yeah, so my final thoughts are it is a gory movie, absolutely. I don't know if it's absolutely for everyone, but if you're a horror aficionado, I think you could make time, carve it out of your schedule to like enjoy this. But again, I don't think I will be revisiting this, and maybe you can sway me if we watch that Henry Cavill one. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, I think that there's it's an interesting world that they've created, and while I do like the kind of the concept of just the interdimensional beings and just kind of using this box as a gateway to get to where we are here, it was just the design cool as well, very intricate, very intense. But
Visually,
again,
I think the movie's all really good. Like all the
visually,
visuals,
yeah, it's got some stuff for sure. I'm not super big into the whole like horror gore kind of thing
Body
as I
torture?
age. Yeah,
as you age.
as I
Younger Taylor
age.
could do it, but yeah.
Younger Taylor, I think, could have done it for sure. But yeah, it's I did have a good time. I'm glad I didn't watch all of it by myself. I'm glad I got to share some of these fucked up moments with my wife. That was funny. But yeah, no, it was a very intriguing experience. I look back and just want to confirm what I gave Smile, and so I could make sure I put this over that because while I still passed Smile, it's not like my favorite horror movie of the year. This would probably go a 6.5 out of 10 because again, it's not super
higher than I
high
thought.
for me.
I thought you were
Yeah.
going to go 6.
No,
I thought. Well, at first in your initial, I thought you might fail it. But
No, I wouldn't fail it because it did have a lot of good things going for it, and the fact too that it is on Hulu, maybe that's probably why I give it a couple extra points as well because Hulu is doing great things with these horror movies, and I want them to be able to just keep, going forward with this and get.
You
the
just want to pray
stuff.
too. So you're like, if any Hulu movies do well, they're all like,
Yeah, if the Hulu execs are listening to our review right now, give me pray too.
Yeah, and I guarantee we probably wouldn't get it, but I really hope in the future, because we're talking about this April on Discord, like start putting some of these movies, give them a limited theatrical. Like I know even we wouldn't get that probably in Kelowna, but it's like even if some people could, like I still wish we could have saw Prey in a theater. Like, and I had the same thing with this where I was like, man, I wish I would have saw this in the theater because I feel like these moments that were intense on my 55-inch, I couldn't even imagine on a big fucking screen. Like I couldn't imagine some of the stuff, and I hope they do that in the future, but I get why, because it costs lots of money and stuff like that. So all right, 6.5, you passed it. That's a, what is it? That's close to, no, a C plus is 66%. Isn't, no, God, I haven't been in school for a while.
I think it's 67, 68.
Yeah, I felt like, yeah, because some places I felt like it was like a 70, wasn't it? Because no, a B is 76, right? I don't know, but either way, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one. I think I'm going to give this one a 9. That's where I'm sitting at. I really like it. Like I said, I don't think I have to look at my Letterboxd top 10. It's not in my top 10 for the year, but I think it's really close. I think it's sitting on 11 right now. I'm looking at, yeah, it's at 11. And even then I have to rewatch. I'm going to rewatch Multiverse Madness again right now. Not right now, but I mean soon, because I'm very close with my ranking of that and Werewolf by Night. And even Massive Talent and stuff like that. I got to rewatch that again, which is still my top 10. Prey is still my top 10. I don't think that's going out of there. I know we got a lot of good movies. Well, it's tough. We got a lot of good movies, but still, it's been a good year. I've been very happy with stuff. This was by surprise because I was like, cool, they're making a reboot of Hellraiser. I liked the trailer. I'm a big horror guy. It's October. A big shout out to all these streaming services. I feel like they're just dropping a bunch of stuff in October this year. I feel like some year streaming services, they don't get it right and they're just like, oh, watch these classics. But this year I feel like people are just pumping out, you want scary shit? Here you go. And I was scared. I'm not actually scared, but I had a great time with this. I really like the lead, this Odessa girl. I'm very excited. She's only 22, so I'm very excited to see the rest of her career. I'm hoping none of the other geeks listen to this because Taylor will forget about her, and I don't want anyone touching her for the super draft.
The lady that looks like Jennifer Walters.
Yeah, they can't DC will get her and stuff like that. But no, I really liked her, and I think because there's some scenes in here, performance-wise, being scared, mad, she knocked that out of the park. Rest of the cast to me is fine to all right. To me, I was like, I watched okay, she's a star. Much like when we watched Prey with Amber Mid-Thunder, I was like, okay, again, star. Hulu is just Hulu/Disney finding these young actors and actresses, putting them in leads, just they know what they got going on. So I love visuals, cinematography. I really love just some of the shots. One thing I forgot to mention when they're at that mansion, and she was just, it was Pinhead, and she was like on an elevated platform, and it didn't look real because it was like looked like a bridge, but she just like had her arms out, and there's lightning going on, and it just looked good. There's so many movies where we talk about, man, these visuals, like, look at this, isn't this beautiful? Like, they just look like shit. And this small movie, it's like, and again, it's dark, so that's fine, but fuck, look at House of Dragon we just had, where it's dark, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this movie has like a full set, like a whole half hour nighttime. You're like, I can see everything, and it looks great. So yeah, I was a big fan of this movie. I'm definitely probably gonna rewatch this before the end of the season because I was just surprised how much I liked it. I thought about like watching it with Emily, but I don't think so because I just don't know. Like, there's times where I go, kids? Well, for sure, them. That's why everyone gather around Pinhead and her buddies. But yeah, I was surprised. But well, Taylor, thank you for joining me on this one. I wasn't alone for this and everything. And yeah, we'll be back next week. The next duo review will be you and me talking Halloween Ends, which talk about a movie with expectations. Did you watch that last trailer they put out for Halloween Ends when the tickets went on sale?
No, I haven't.
Either. No, so I'm hoping that might help a little bit. But yeah, we'll be back. Talk about an interesting review. I think that's going to be another interesting review. But until then, it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.